Chapter 1: Divorce with Nothing, Gaining a Street Food Stall System. In a parallel world, at the Annan District Civil Affairs Bureau in Jiang City, a quick stamp sealed the end of the marriage between Lu Qin and Shen Mayan. They each took their divorce certificates, stood up, and immediately caught the attention of others in the hall. People around them whispered, unable to hide their regret. "What a shame," someone murmured. "They're such a stunning couple. The man so handsome, clean-cut, stylish, easy on the eyes. The woman has a striking presence like a movie star. They seemed perfect together. How could they just call it quits?" Standing outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, Shen Mayan slid on her sunglasses, masking her already breathtaking features. Tall, with refined, delicate facial structure and long, straight black hair that cascaded down her back like a waterfall, she looked over at Lu Qin. Her voice was as cool and composed as always. "You should really reconsider not taking any assets," she said. "Yao Yao's kindergarten tuition isn't cheap. Raising a child was expensive, a bottomless pit of expenses. Without the foundation of marriage, Lu Qin had no job and no income to fall back on." "There's no need," Lu Qin replied calmly, his gaze unwavering. Seeing his firm stance, Shen Mayan didn't press the matter. She turned, got into her Maserati and sped off. She had always been decisive, no hesitation, no second-guessing. They were both adults, after all, and once a decision was made, they each had to live with the consequences. What surprised Shen Mayan was Lu Qin's refusal to take any of their shared wealth. He could have walked away with a considerable fortune, and most people wouldn't have been able to resist. But not him. Their daughter, Yao Yao, was adamant about staying with Lu Qin. Shen understood the bond. After all, she had rarely been around since Yao Yao was born. Still, she wasn't too worried. She figured that, after leaving a life of luxury, it wouldn't take long, 2 weeks. Maybe before Yao Yao came crying back to her. In a way, Lu Qin's decision not to take any money played into her hands. When his new life became unbearable, the custody of their child would fall back to her naturally. As Shen Mayan drove away, Lu Qin hailed a taxi to pick up Yao Yao from Starlight Kindergarten. Now broke, he had only 35,000 yuan in savings, and still needed to find a place to rent. They had been living in Shen Mayan's lavish villa, never worrying about basic needs. He wasn't sure how Yao Yao would adjust to their new life. That was his only real concern. His feelings for Shen Mayan had never run deep. The two had made a mistake one night. After too much to drink at a banquet, they'd ended up with an unexpected consequence: Yao Yao. Marriage followed out of obligation, hastily, and without a wedding. Shen Mayan, a relentless workaholic, managed several 5-star hotels, and had a net worth in the tens of millions. But between the demands of her job and the wealth she accumulated, she had little time for Lu Qin or their daughter Lu Xiao. To make up for that absence, Lu Qin had sacrificed his career. He left a high-paying job at a public tech company to become a stay-at-home dad. Years passed, and Shen Mayan stayed as busy as ever. Sometimes, she would be away for weeks on business, barely seen at home. Meanwhile, Lu Qin spent his days caring for their daughter, Lu Xiao, and managing the household, keeping everything in perfect order. There had never been conflict between him and Shen Mayan. They never even fought. But their relationship had always been thin, like paper, without any real connection. Divorce felt inevitable, as if they both saw it coming from a mile away. They separated peacefully without bitterness. At the entrance of Starlight Kindergarten, Lu Qin stood casually in a white shirt and jeans, his tall, handsome figure catching the eyes of several mothers waiting for their children. "Daddy!" A little girl, freshly released by her teacher, spotted Lu Qin and ran towards him, clinging to his leg as soon as she reached him. Lu Xiao, in a pink princess dress, was lively and adorable, a perfect blend of Lu Qin and Shen Mayan's best features. Her soft, rosy face pressed lovingly against Lu Qin's leg, as she called out "Daddy" in a voice sweet enough to melt anyone's heart. Lu Qin's eyes were full of warmth as he gently patted her head. "Ms. Li, I'm picking up Yao Yao now," he said, showing the teacher his pickup card before lifting his daughter into his arms. "Goodbye, Ms. Li." Yao Yao waved cheerfully. "Goodbye, Yao Yao," her teacher responded with a smile. The kindergarten staff were familiar with Lu Qin. He was always polite and warm, and his good looks didn't go unnoticed. Little Yao Yao, with her charm, was unforgettable as well. But no one had ever seen her mother. It was always Lu Qin who did the pickups, leading many of the single female teachers and mothers to believe he was a single dad. Some even tried to approach him occasionally, while Yao Yao was often showered with small gifts like milk or lollipops. Holding her tiny hand, Lu Qin and his daughter walked leisurely along a tree-lined path. "Were you a good girl at kindergarten today, Yao Yao?" "I was super good," she replied with enthusiasm. Lu Qin raised an eyebrow playfully. "Keep that up," he said with a grin. Yao Yao blinked her large, sparkling eyes. "Daddy, since I was so good, can I have an ice cream? I'll reward you with a flick on the forehead." "Wah, never mind then." She pouted for a moment but quickly recovered, happily skipping along while holding his hand. No matter what, Yao Yao was always happy as long as she was with her dad. Of course, ice cream would make her even happier. As they passed by other grandparents picking up their grandchildren, Yao Yao noticed many kids getting ice cream, doted on by their doting elders. Lu Qin soon heard the familiar sound of soft gulping beside him. He thought for a moment, and remembered it had been 3 days since she last had ice cream. Today, he decided she could have one. Hearing this, her face lit up with excitement. "Daddy, I want a strawberry choco bar." Her smile stretched from ear to ear as she savored her treat, her happiness so pure it seemed even her eyebrows smiled. After finishing her ice cream, Yao Yao wiped her mouth with the tissue Lu Qin handed her. He looked at her thoughtfully before speaking. "Yao Yao, do you understand what it means that Daddy and Mommy are going to live separately?" "You mean divorce, right?" she said, interrupting him, without hesitation. "You know what that means?" "Of course," she replied, her chubby face calm and unbothered. "I saw it on TV. Divorce means Daddy and Mommy live in different houses, sleep in different beds, and don't stay together anymore." Lu Qin couldn't help but smile bitterly. Kids these days seem to know everything. Thinking back, even when he and Shen Mayan were married, they had always slept in separate rooms first, because they lacked real affection, and second, because she was always busy working late into the night. "How do you feel about that?" he asked. "It doesn't matter," Yao Yao said with a small shrug. "I never saw Mommy much anyway. She never came to any of my kindergarten events, and she only celebrated my birthday with me once." Her voice faltered for just a moment, but then she brightened. "As long as I have Daddy, that's enough. I'll stay with you." A wave of warmth swept through Lu Qin's heart. Living with Daddy might mean we won't stay in a big villa anymore. There might not be a huge TV for cartoons. "That's okay," she said, smiling up at him. "As long as I'm with Daddy every day, I don't need a big TV." Lu Qin chuckled softly. His little girl was his greatest source of strength, always filling him with comfort. The reason he hadn't taken any of Shen Mayan's wealth was simple: he trusted in his own ability to earn a living and provide for the daughter, who never let him down. Just then, a ding sounded in Lu Qin's mind. Food stall system activated. Earn points by setting up a stall. Points can be used for lottery draws. First day activation reward. 100 points. Automatically spending 100 points for the first draw. Congratulations. You have received max level stir-fried noodles skill. You can now make the most delicious stir-fried noodles in the world. Suddenly, an overwhelming surge of knowledge about stir-frying noodles filled Lu Qin's mind. Cooking techniques, ingredient combinations, precise heat control, and timing all fused together effortlessly. It was as if everything clicked into place, transforming into second nature. He had never imagined there could be so much intricacy in something as seemingly simple as stir-fried noodles. Every detail, from choosing the right oil to achieving the perfect texture of the noodles, played a crucial role in mastering the dish. Chapter 2: Hotel dining complaints piling up. Shen Mayan, you'll regret this. Am I really going to set up a stall to sell stir-fried noodles? Lu Qin wasn't disappointed by the system's first skill. In fact, he didn't feel any sense of frustration at all. He had once been a top student at Tsinghua University. If he hadn't gotten married, he might have made a name for himself in the high-tech industry. But he didn't regret marrying, because how else would he have such a lively and adorable little girl? His daughter was the greatest gift life had given him. No job is inherently better than another. Success comes in many forms, and Lu Qin believed that as long as you put your heart into your work, even selling food at a street stall could lead to success. Besides, now Lu Qin had the system to back him up. And on top of that, his little girl had always loved the food he made, which made him enjoy cooking even more. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, in a massive office, the floor was a perfect sweep of gray marble, flawlessly polished. Exquisite art adorned the pristine white walls, and the minimalist design gave the space a cold, distant feel. Shin Mayan had just returned from the Civil Affairs Bureau and immediately buried herself in work. The divorce didn't faze her in the slightest. Her marriage to Lu Qin had always been more symbolic than real. The marriage certificate was just a piece of paper. Sitting at her desk, she quickly fell into her rhythm, flipping through files. The first few documents were customer complaints. Guest in room 8188 complained that the savory baby cabbage and broth at the Rose restaurant was bland. The broth was flavorless like plain water, with no depth whatsoever. A couple in room 5431 complained about the dish pork tripe with jade beans, saying, "Did the chef stir-fry this with his feet? It's terrible." The VIP guest in the presidential suite, Mr. Zhou, expressed disappointment with our Michelin chef. He simply requested basic fried rice, but was left unsatisfied. Shin Mayan rubbed her temples, feeling the familiar weight of frustration. Guests' expectations for hotel dining had become increasingly high, not just at her Uriai hotel but across Jiang City, especially for five-star chains like Uriai, where the clientele was either wealthy or powerful. Expectations for food and accommodation were sky-high. Under her meticulous management, Uriai had perfected its room services to the point of almost no complaints. Yet, the dining services remained a sore spot. In a country where food was a significant part of cultural pride, dissatisfaction with the hotel's dining was more than just a minor inconvenience. It was a serious flaw. For instance, at Uriai's Annan district location, she had replaced the kitchen staff multiple times. They had hired top chefs from five-star hotels in China, even poaching famous Michelin-starred chefs, some of whom had appeared on TV cooking shows. Yet, despite all these efforts, guest satisfaction with the food hadn't improved. It gave Shin Mayan a headache. Catering to everyone's taste was impossible. Should she bring in national banquet chefs? That wasn't realistic. She closed the file deep in thought. Her eyes drifted to the nearby divorce certificate. For a few moments, she stared at it blankly, her mind elsewhere. For the first time, Shin Mayan felt an odd emptiness inside her. Her work, usually a distraction, wasn't enough to fill it. She moved to the leather sofa in the lounge, crossing her long, slender legs beneath her black business suit. She closed her eyes to rest, and had her assistant bring her a cup of coffee. Her petite secretary, Song Xianxian, knew about the divorce. As Shin Mayan's trusted assistant, she was naturally in the loop. 6 years had passed since the CEO's quiet, rushed wedding, and during all that time, Shin Mayan had rarely mentioned her husband. Song Xianxian was curious about what kind of man Shin Mayan had married. There weren't even any photos of him in her office. She speculated that their relationship had been distant. But then, why did they marry in the first place? And now, why had they divorced so quickly? Her curiosity gnawed at her, but she didn't dare ask. "Boss, are you tired? Should I give you a shoulder massage?" she offered. Shin Mayan nodded, just as her phone rang. "Shin Mayan, you got divorced." The voice on the other end was practically a shriek. Shin Mayan calmly held the phone farther from her ear and responded, "Yes, I got divorced. Why does that surprise you?" "I can't believe it. Lu Qin is such a great guy, handsome and all. Why would you get divorced? Seriously, who else could stand someone like you? You're a total workaholic with no fun in your life." "There were no feelings between us," Shin Mayan said, her voice even. "Feelings can grow, but you never gave it a chance. All you ever did was work. You couldn't have tried spending more time with him? What about your daughter?" Her best friend, Fangya, was exasperated. She couldn't understand how Shin Mayan could walk away from Lu Qin, a handsome, kind and thoughtful man. Shin was going to regret this. "And what about precious little Yao Yao?" Fangya asked. "She's staying with him," Shin replied. You. Shin Mayan, you're impossible." Fangya fumed. "You're going to regret this, mark my words. I'm on Lu Qin's side this time." With that, Fangya hung up, too angry to keep talking to someone she felt had foolishly thrown away a perfect family. At some point, Song Xianxian had quietly left the room, leaving Shin Mayan alone in the vast, luxurious office. Taking a sip of her coffee, Shin Mayan's thoughts drifted to the face of the man she had just divorced. To be honest, even with her critical eye, she had always found Lu Qin pleasant to look at. From what little she knew of him, his personality and character were quite good too. Perhaps if they had taken the time to date properly, things could have unfolded differently. Maybe they could have built a beautiful life together. But from the very beginning, their meeting had been at the wrong time and placed a mistake between two strangers. And then they had a child. Both she and Lu Qin had been blindsided by that huge, life-altering event, and their lives had taken unexpected turns. As Shen Mayan slipped deeper into her memories, she recalled the many nights she would return home exhausted, only to find the house perfectly organized, instantly putting her at ease. Lu Qin had always been thoughtful, even though they were never close. He would cook noodles for her, just simple egg noodles, but the aroma was irresistible, better than anything she'd ever had at a restaurant. Each time, she finished the whole bowl, despite not usually eating late at night. Now, images of Lu Qin's handsome face, their adorable daughter, and those delicious noodles swirled in her mind. But her phone rang again, shattering the warmth of her memories. She glanced at the screen. It was a work call. The workaholic in her took over as she stood up and returned to her desk, diving back into her files as if nothing had happened. In the old southern district. Hey young man, it's a fair price, 3,000 yuan a month, and you even get a little courtyard, the landlady said, her voice matter of fact. I see you've got a kid with you, so no need for the 3-month deposit. Just pay the first month's rent and you're good. Lu Qin appreciated her straightforwardness and wasted no time signing the contract and paying the rent. The main reason he chose this place was its proximity to his daughter's kindergarten, only a 10-minute walk. Though the area was old, it was clean, and the environment was peaceful. The old neighbors were friendly too. When they saw new tenants moving in, they came over to say hello. Lu Qin's daughter, Yao Yao, always sweet and polite, greeted them with her soft, endearing voice, instantly winning herself an apple and an orange in her two small white hands. They had gone from living in a luxury villa to a modest home in an ordinary residential area. It seemed like a big downgrade, but neither Lu Qin nor his daughter minded. Little Yao Yao, full of curiosity, wandered around the new place, fascinated by everything. Daddy, let me help you move things, she said, running over with quick little steps as she saw her father carrying a big box. Why don't you take your stuffed toys into the house first, Yao Yao? Lu Qin suggested. Okay, Daddy, she replied, her eyes lighting up as she eagerly went to move her precious toys. Chapter 3. Cooking for the first time after acquiring the system, without Lu Qin and the little one at home. The little one struggled forward, holding a large cardboard box, wobbling on her tiny legs like a tottering snake. Seeing this, Lu Qin bent down to steady the box and chuckled softly. Yao Yao, just do what you can manage. Let Daddy handle this big box. Daddy, did I buy too many toys? It's so heavy, she huffed, furrowing her little brows in concentration. Lu Qin smiled warmly. So, will you still buy so many toys next time? I'll only buy the ones I really like. If I just like them, I won't buy them, she replied, her big watery eyes blinking earnestly. But Daddy, let Yao Yao move her own things. You said we should do our tasks ourselves whenever we can. She was so sensible for her age. Knowing the large box was too heavy for her, she smartly switched to smaller boxes, dividing the toys and moving them one by one into her room. Father and daughter worked together for over an hour, organizing and tidying up. After washing up, they finally sank into the sofa to rest. In their old neighborhood, there was a farmer's market just 500 meters away. That evening, Lu Qin made a quick trip to buy some simple ingredients for dinner. Meanwhile, Lu Xiao sat in the living room, engrossed in her favorite cartoon, Dora the Explorer. Though the TV wasn't as large as their previous one, it didn't seem to dampen her enthusiasm. The first skill Lu Qin had won from the system's lottery was max-level stir-fried noodles, and with it came an incredible boost in his cooking prowess. His technique had advanced so much that even cutting vegetables or flipping a pan had become an art. What used to be just basic competence had now turned into mastery. For dinner, he whipped up a simple yet hearty meal: braised pork ribs, scrambled eggs with tomatoes and stir-fried greens. Just enough for two and perfectly portioned. As soon as the dishes hit the table, the rich, savory aroma wafted into the living room. Lu Xiao's little nose twitched. She immediately turned off the TV and rushed over, eyes wide with excitement. Wow, Daddy, it smells amazing. Yao Yao is hungry, she exclaimed, bouncing on her toes, forgetting she had already eaten a whole apple while watching her show. Daddy, today's dinner smells even better than usual. Her big eyes sparkled as she gazed longingly at the glossy braised pork ribs, practically drooling. Go wash your hands, then we can eat. Lu Qin reminded her gently. Okay, she replied, dashing off to the bathroom. She dragged a small stool over to the sink and stood on it to reach the faucet, her little hands carefully scrubbing under the water. Lu Qin had raised her well she could wash her face, brush her teeth, and even tie her shoes all on her own. When she returned, Lu Qin had already served her a small bowl of rice and a tender piece of pork rib. Daddy, let's eat, she said, clumsily trying to maneuver the chopsticks. The moment she took a bite, her face lit up with pure joy. The soft, savory pork practically melted in her mouth, and she couldn't help but bob her head in delight, her feet swinging happily under the table. Eat slowly, or your tummy will hurt, Lu Qin said, smiling as he took a bite of the scrambled eggs with tomatoes. His eyes widened in surprise. As expected from the system's max-level cooking skill, even something as simple as scrambled eggs had been elevated to a whole new level. The eggs were perfectly tender yet firm, while the tomatoes were bursting with sweetness and freshness. The flavors melded together in a way that left a lingering satisfaction after every bite. In no time, the 3 dishes were wiped clean by the father and daughter. Lu Qin polished off 2 big bowls of rice, while Yao Yao happily finished her 2 small ones. Afterward, they both leaned back in their chairs, too full to move. Yao Yao rubbed her little belly contentedly, though there was still a hint of longing in her eyes. Daddy, can you make this again tomorrow? It was so yummy today. Of course, Lu Qin said with a smile, patting her on the head before getting up to clean the dishes. Ever helpful, Yao Yao insisted on joining in. But soon enough, her sleeves were soaked, and after using too much dish soap, the sink was overflowing with bubbles. Hee hee, she giggled, amused by the chaos she had caused. Lu Qin couldn't help but laugh too, gently tapping the tip of her nose. You little troublemaker. The kitchen was filled with the warmth of love and laughter. At 8:30 in the evening, Jiang City was a vibrant sea of lights, bustling with life as the night came alive. Shen Mayan, exhausted from her long day, parked her car in the garage and took the elevator up to her villa. After a quick face scan to unlock the door, she stepped inside. The house was dark and eerily quiet. For a moment, she wondered if she had walked into the wrong home. In the past, no matter how late she returned, Lu Qin would always leave a light on for her, with a warm cup of lemon water waiting on the table. But tonight, there was only silence. Shen Mayan hesitated, then changed into something more comfortable, grabbed a bottle of mineral water from the fridge, and sank into the plush leather sofa. She closed her eyes, seeking a moment of peace. You're back. Yao Yao's already asleep. Are you hungry? I can make you some noodles. Lu Qin's gentle voice echoed in her mind. Startled, she opened her eyes. The spacious living room was empty. The warmth of his presence was nothing more than a memory, and an inexplicable wave of frustration welled up inside her. Needing a distraction, she picked up her phone and dialed a number. Fangya, are you free? I'll treat you to dinner. A groggy voice answered. No, I'm busy. Wait, what? Treat me to dinner? Do you even realize what time it is? I just got home from work. I haven't eaten yet, Shen Mayan replied, her tone carrying a hint of complaint, as if to say, do you think it's easy working myself to death every day? Fangya sighed on the other end. Can't you take better care of yourself? How do you even forget to eat? Fangya, a food blogger with millions of followers and regular features in gourmet magazines, was in the middle of writing an article when Shen Mayan called. She was used to her friend's habit of neglecting meals, so she resigned herself to joining her for a late dinner, treating it more like a midnight snack. The two of them ended up in a narrow, lively alley lined with street vendors. Shen Mayan wrinkled her nose in mild disgust as she wiped down their table, clearly uncomfortable in the less-than-spotless environment. Fangya couldn't help but laugh. Ms. CEO, the best food is often found in these little rundown alleys, trust me. Shen Mayan still frowned, skeptical of the hygiene, though she knew Fangya's recommendations were never wrong. She trusted that the taste would be good, even if the surroundings left much to be desired. Before long the food arrived. Fangya eagerly picked up her chopsticks and dug in, her face lighting up with delight at the flavors. Shen Mayan hesitated for a moment, then followed suit. The moment the stir-fried liver and sautéed tripe hit her tongue, her expression changed, her eyes widened in surprise. The taste was unexpectedly amazing, even though the dishes didn't look all that appealing. Fangya grinned triumphantly, watching her notoriously picky friend enjoy the meal. "So, Miss CEO, how's it taste? Was I right?" "Very good," Shinmayan admitted, nodding in approval. Then she turned to the owner, asking if they had more dishes like the ones on their table. She was already imagining how great it would be to recruit such a skilled chef for her hotel's kitchen. But after some inquiries, her hopes were dashed. The small shop specialized in only a few awful dishes, and the rest of the menu was just average. She was disappointed and abandoned the idea her hotel guests couldn't live on stir-fried liver and sautéed tripe alone. Fangya chuckled, shaking her head. "It's this late, and you're still thinking about work? Can't you just enjoy the meal for once?" Shinmayan sighed. "You're a top food blogger with tons of connections. Can't you help me find a good chef?" Fangya shot her a look. "You're looking for someone with banquet-level skills. The only person I know who fits the bill is old Master Mai from Jiang City, but he's retired. Are you really going to ask him to come work for your hotel?" Shinmayan sighed again, leaning back as Fangya popped the last piece of tripe into her mouth, savoring the moment. Chapter 4: Getting ready for the street stand. Yao Yao's dad's cool three-wheeler food cart. At 7 a.m., Lu Qin woke up, got himself ready, and went to wake up his daughter Lu Xiao. "Yao Yao, it's time to get up for school, little lazy pig," he called softly. Thanks to a well-set bedtime routine, Lu Xiao usually slept by 9:30 p.m. and woke up around 7 a.m., getting just the right amount of rest. But this morning she struggled a bit. "Daddy, I'm still sleepy," she murmured, rolling over and wrapping herself tightly in the blankets like a little dumpling. Lu Qin chuckled, gently patting her. "Come on, sweetie, today's a school day." The little girl tried her luck, peeking out from the covers. "Daddy, can I skip school and stay with you?" "No, Daddy's got to go make some money." Her eyes lit up, and she sat up straight, suddenly excited. "I'll help Daddy make money." Lu Qin playfully flicked her forehead. "Nice try. Your job is to go to kindergarten and be a good student," he reminded her. "Okay. Daddy, are you going to the office today?" "Nope, Daddy's going to set up a food stall." "A food stall? That sounds fun," she exclaimed, full of curiosity. As she got dressed, she continued peppering him with questions. Moving to a new place hadn't changed much of their morning routine, and soon, Lu Xiao was standing on a little stool in the bathroom, brushing her teeth and washing her face, all by herself. Meanwhile, Lu Qin prepared breakfast. Breakfast was simple fried eggs, toast, and milk. "Wow, Daddy, the eggs taste amazing today," she shouted with joy, taking a big bite. Lu Qin smiled, wiping her mouth gently. After breakfast, he dropped her off at kindergarten, and his day truly began. He was preparing to set up his food stall to sell stir-fried noodles. Setting up the stall didn't require a large investment, with his biggest expense being an electric tricycle. These three-wheelers had become popular overseas, but the local prices remained affordable. A good quality, durable tricycle cost about 3,000 yuan, and Lu Qin opted for a well-known Zongshan brand for its reputation. When purchasing, the shop owner offered him an option to register the tricycle for an extra 50 yuan, and even customize it as a food cart with signage for an additional 600 yuan. "I'll take a ready-made one," Lu Qin decided, knowing he couldn't wait for a custom job. For 3,600 yuan, he bought a yellow and white food cart, and the registration was included. With the purchase complete, Lu Qin hopped on a bus to gather his supplies. He visited food markets, supermarkets, and farmers' markets, looking for the best quality ingredients: fresh rice noodles, eggs, oil, salt, vinegar, and other essentials. His system-enhanced cooking skills ensured he knew how to source top-tier ingredients. For example, high-quality rice noodles could elevate a dish far beyond what average noodles could achieve. After some searching, he found authentic handmade rice noodles from Anyang County at a small stall. "How much for the rice noodles?" he asked the vendor. 4.5 yuan per jin, the vendor replied. "If I buy a lot, can I get a discount?" "I'll take 50 jin. For 50 jin? I can give them to you for 4 yuan per jin." The noodles were perfect, white as crystal, smooth as silk, and elastic like rubber bands. They wouldn't get mushy after cooking, nor would they become too greasy or dry when stir-fried. Lu Qin paid 200 yuan for the noodles and added 10 jin of fresh eggs, 3 jin of lean meat, 3 jin of ham, along with oil, salt, and vinegar, spending a total of 364.8 yuan. As he left the market, He noticed a shop selling disposable tableware nearby. Sure enough, it was exactly what he needed to complete his setup. 1,000 pairs of disposable chopsticks cost 30 yuan, and a box of 240 medium-sized disposable plastic takeout containers was 75 yuan. Lu Qin also picked up a box of napkins, 10 rags, a wok, and a few aprons. Young man, buying all this, are you setting up a stall? The shop owner asked. Yes, boss, Lu Qin replied. It looks like a lot to carry. If your place is nearby, I can help you with the delivery. Come by my shop anytime, the owner offered. Thank you, boss. The address is Futian Garden. Futian Garden? That's quite close. Only about 2.5 kilometers. Jump into my delivery truck. The small truck wove through the streets and alleys. Boss Zhao, who sold disposable tableware, was well acquainted with the old neighborhood, having lived there for over 30 years. Boss, do you know a good spot to set up a stall around here? Lu Qin asked. You're asking the right person, Boss Zhao said. My wife used to run a stall selling cold noodles. She worked from early morning until late at night, and I got worried about her health, so I advised her to stop. For breakfast, try the entrance of Sunshine Elementary School. There's a lot of foot traffic, and only a couple of breakfast shops. Most others are stalls. If you pack up by 8:30, you won't have to worry about city inspectors. For dinner and late-night snacks, head to University Town. Avoid setting up on the main road. They charge a high stall fee there. Instead, go to the small alley next to La Maisie Hot Pot Restaurant. All the stalls are there, and they don't charge fees. Get there early to secure a good spot, and you'll have a busy night. Boss Zhao was a warm-hearted man, generously sharing his knowledge with Lu Qin. He was grateful for the valuable tips, and established a long-term partnership with him. After completing his morning shopping, Lu Qin took a 45-minute nap before starting the stall setup. He soaked the rice noodles until they were soft, portioned them out, sliced the lean meat, and diced the ham. Thanks to his system's maxed-out skills, the preparations were handled swiftly and efficiently. By 4:30 p.m., Lu Qin had finished his preparations, picked up the food cart from the shop, and loaded everything onto it. He then went to pick up Lu Xiao from school. As the eye-catching electric tricycle pulled up to the school gate, it drew the attention of teachers, parents, and students alike. Lu Xiao's face lit up with excitement at the sight of the new ride. Daddy, this cart is so cool. Lu Xiao, what kind of vehicle is your dad driving? It's so flashy. Wow. It's an electric tricycle. And there's a little house in the back. You can even go inside. Dad, can you pick me up in a tricycle like Lu Xiao's dad? I don't want to ride in a car anymore. In Jiangcheng, where luxury cars were common, Lu Qin's three-wheeled cart stood out as a unique and intriguing sight in front of Starlight Kindergarten. Lu Xiao beamed with pride, eagerly hopping into the cart and sitting next to her dad. With a triumphant fist raised, she announced to her friends, Daddy, let's go! Starlight Kindergarten was known for its emphasis on values and discipline, and Lu Qin's food cart drew more curiosity than disdain. Teachers and parents were simply surprised and impressed by Lu Xiao's dad starting a new venture. Chapter 5. Good wine is not afraid of deep alleys. But if you don't know its value, stir-fried noodles can't compare to Odin. A brand new food cart turned into the alley next to the Spicy Girl Hot Pot Restaurant at 5:15 p.m. in Chonglin Road, University Town. By the time Lu Qin arrived with his daughter in tow, the best spots were already taken. The prime locations near the alley's entrance had long been claimed. As luck would have it, one of those stalls was also selling stir-fried noodles. The middle-aged, greasy man running that stall glanced at Lu Qin's new sign, but paid it little mind. Food stalls were easy to set up, so competition was fierce. However, after running his stall for 5 years, this vendor had built a solid reputation and a loyal customer base. His stir-fried rice noodles were fragrant, spicy, and chewy, a favorite among the university students. Lu Qin parked his food cart about 50 meters away from the entrance, where only a few scattered stalls stood. These vendors, arriving late, knew that being stuck at the back might hurt their business. But Lu Qin didn't seem to mind. Even if the location wasn't great, he firmly believed that good wine is not afraid of deep alleys. After parking the cart, he gently patted his daughter's head. Yao Yao, we'll set up shop here and sell our stir-fried noodles. Her eyes lit up with excitement. It was her first time at the night market. Usually, Lu Qin took her to big shopping malls, but she had grown tired of them. This bustling market was a whole new experience, and all along the way, she kept exclaiming, "Wow! Wow! Daddy, Yao Yao will help too." She was eager to pitch in, helping arrange takeout boxes with a focused expression. The nearby vendors, mostly older men and women, couldn't help but glance at this young man and his adorable, well-behaved daughter. Seeing young people setting up food stalls wasn't uncommon these days. Stories of young man makes thousands a day with his food stall better than an office job. Or couple buys 2 city center houses selling street food frequently made headlines. Yet in reality very few could make that kind of money. Most just hovered around breaking even. By 5:35 p.m., Lu Qin finished setting up his stall. The evening dusk had settled in, and the university town was coming to life with people out for dinner and shopping. The stalls at the entrance of the alley were already buzzing with customers. "Boss, 1 stir-fried rice noodles extra spicy. 1 multigrain pancake with pork tenderloin and hot dog no lettuce. Some skewers, please. I'll take chicken wings, shrimp leeks, and grasshoppers." Gradually, more diners showed up, young couples, families, grandparents with grandchildren. Yet, very few ventured to the far end of the alley where Lu Qin's stall stood. The food was similar across the stalls: grilled skewers, fried noodles, cold dishes, and since taste didn't vary much, location made all the difference. Half an hour passed, and Lu Qin hadn't served a single customer. The man selling oden next to him was doing slightly better, having served a couple of customers earlier, though his business had slowed too. With not much else to do, the uncle struck up a conversation with Lu Qin. "Hey, young man, new to this? First time running a stall?" "Yeah, it's my first time here," Lu Qin replied with a polite nod. "No worries, everyone's got to start somewhere. Just come earlier next time to grab a good spot. Get a prime location and business will follow." He glanced at the little girl beside Lu Qin. "Your daughter? She's so well-behaved and cute. My girl's in 5th grade. Before I came out today, I was helping her with some homework. Some math problem about chickens and ducks in a cage. It had both me and her mom pulling our hair out. That's why I was late setting up tonight." Lu Qin smiled, exchanging some casual banter with him. "Daddy, I'm hungry," his daughter Lu Xiao said, rubbing her small belly. It was clear she had missed dinner. The uncle noticed and offered kindly. "Your little one's hungry, huh? Here, have some of my oden." He scooped out a skewer of fish balls and tempura, offering it to her for free. She was just too cute to resist. "Thank you, uncle, but I want to eat what my daddy makes," she replied, her eyes fixed on her father. Lu Qin smiled and declined the offer gently. "Thanks for the kindness, but it looks like my girl's set on having stir-fried noodles." The uncle chuckled, pulling back the food. "Little one, you don't know what you're missing. Stir-fried noodles can't compare to my oden. Children usually adore food on skewers, candied fruit, oden, grilled chicken. Stir-fried noodles, being more of a basic staple, rarely excite their imaginations. But my daddy's cooking is the best." Lu Xiao clung to Lu Qin's arm, proudly standing by her father's side. The uncle chuckled, amused by her loyalty, but skeptical. How good could stir-fried noodles really be? After all, old Lu at the alley entrance had been selling his noodles for 5 or 6 years, and they were nothing special, too greasy, too heavy. Lu Qin tied on his apron and fired up the stove. With the spatula in hand, his entire demeanor shifted, entering a state of focus. His movements became smooth, almost instinctive. He poured cold oil into the hot wok. Sizzle! The aroma of minced garlic and small chili peppers burst into the air. He cracked an egg into the wok, breaking it apart with the spatula's back. Then the rice noodles followed, sizzling against the iron surface. Despite using a large 16-inch wok, Lu Qin never fried more than 3 portions at once. Overcrowding the wok would ruin the flavor. As he stir-fried over high heat, he added bean sprouts, garlic shoots, and strips of ham. Stir-fried noodles seem simple, but their perfection lies in the details. Stirring over high heat for just 2 minutes can bring out the wok hei, the breath of the wok, a flavor that defines a great dish. But if the heat, stirring speed, or seasonings aren't precisely balanced, the taste suffers. This simplicity is deceiving. It's in mastering these small techniques where the dish either succeeds or fails. The fragrant aroma filled the air, and soon a plate of tender, savory stir-fried noodles was ready. The uncle selling oden couldn't help but swallow hard. Regret flashed across his face as he remembered his earlier skepticism. The noodles not only looked fantastic, they smelled divine. He hadn't expected this young man to be so skilled. The sauce's rich aroma alone made him think these noodles would definitely outshine old Lou's stir-fried noodles at the entrance. Xiao, her impatience stoked by the enticing aroma, raised her little hands high. "Daddy, it smells so good. Yao Yao is hungry," she squealed. Lu Qin split the dish into 2 portions, one for himself and one for his daughter, and they dug in immediately. "Wow, this is so yummy." Her eyes sparkled as she chewed, speaking through a mouthful of noodles. "Slow down, don't choke." Though Lu Qin gave a gentle reminder, the noodles were far from dry or tough. They were perfectly smooth and springy, thanks to his quick stir-frying technique, a skill that required precision. Had his timing been off, the noodles could have turned mushy, ruining their texture. The uncle next to them, watching the father and daughter eat with such joy, felt his own mouth water. Goodness, why do these noodles smell so amazing? Even though he had eaten dinner just an hour ago, a pang of hunger struck him again. Young man, these noodles of yours look really good. Could I have a plate too?" Lu Qin paused, wiping his mouth with a napkin before nodding. "Sure." Xiao wanted to chime in with, "Uncle, you've got good taste." But with her mouth full of noodles, she simply kept eating in silence, a happy smile on her face. Chapter 6. These fried rice noodles are top tier. Where can you get it? "Oh, from that stall with the handsome owner." "Bro, you're my first customer today, so I'll give you extra noodles and ham," Lu Qin said. "Sure buddy, do as you see fit. Just make it quick." The Odin uncle swallowed his saliva again. The smell of these fried noodles was becoming more and more tempting. He didn't eat fried noodles often before, but Lu Qin's noodles really smelled amazing. They looked appetizing, and he couldn't resist. The noodles were tossed a few more times in the wok, releasing a rich aroma with a hint of wok hay. The Odin uncle's nostrils flared like butterfly wings, and his stomach rumbled with hunger. "Hurry up and give it to me. I'll pay in a bit." The uncle couldn't wait. He reached out, took the box, tore open the chopsticks and started digging in. "Oh wow, this is really good. It's so hot." The uncle bent over, devouring the noodles, not realizing fried noodles could taste this good. The fragrance was overwhelming, the texture was excellent, and the rice noodles were soft yet springy, blending perfectly with the savory eggs and ham, constantly stimulating his taste buds. The more he ate, the more he craved, unable to stop. Lu Qin took a marker and wrote the prices on a whiteboard. Vegetarian fried rice noodles, 8 yuan per serving. Add an egg, 1 yuan. Add ham, 2 yuan. Add lean pork, 2 yuan. In Jiangcheng, this price for fried noodles was quite reasonable. The uncle finished the noodles in just a few bites, licking his lips, still craving more. But he was already full, or else he would have ordered another serving. "Young man, your fried noodles are absolutely delicious. So smooth and rich in flavor, not greasy at all. And the more I eat, the better it gets." The uncle gave him a thumbs up and scanned the QR code to pay. It seemed like old Lu had some competition now. As the WeChat payment came through, a voice rang in Lu Qin's mind. "Sold 1 serving of fried rice noodles, earned 1 point. Collect 100 points for a chance to enter a prize draw." Something Lu Qin was looking forward to. Just then, Lu Xiao had also finished her fried noodles, not leaving even the smallest piece of ham stuck to the box. "Daddy, the fried noodles are so tasty. I want more." Lu Qin glanced at the little one and asked, "Is there still room in your tummy?" Lu Xiao looked down at her bulging belly, stuck out her tongue and replied, "Not now, but I'll eat more when I get hungry later." Not far away, 2 male college students were walking by. They initially wanted to buy grilled cold noodles, but caught the scent of fried rice noodles, making them turn their heads. "It smells like fried rice noodles, and it's really fragrant. Let's go check it out. Looks like a new stall. Smells good, wonder how it tastes." "Hey, handsome guys, want to try some fried rice noodles?" Lu Qin asked while smiling. The 2 students glanced at Lu Qin, clearly taken aback. This stall owner was definitely more handsome than them. "All right, boss, we'll take 2 servings with eggs. The ham and lean pork look fresh too. Let's add those as well." "Add everything." "Got it," Lu Qin replied. They paid 26 yuan through Alipay, and the system credited him with 2 more points. 2 minutes later, the fried rice noodles were ready. Just as Lu Qin was about to pack them up, one of the students said, "Boss, no need to pack it. Just hand it over. It smells too good, I need a bite now. These noodles look really appetizing. I was planning to eat at the grilled cold noodles place, but I guess I'll have to wait until tomorrow. The two of them stood at Lu Qin's stall and started gobbling up the noodles. Wow, this is a surprise. Boss, your fried rice noodles are amazing. So good. Really good. After that quick compliment, the two focused on eating. Boss, got any drinks? One of the students, having finished his portion quickly, wanted a drink. Sorry, it's my first day, and I didn't have time to prepare any, Lu Qin said apologetically. The Odin uncle next door quickly chimed in. I've got iced tea over here. Lu Qin's fried noodles were quite filling, with plenty of bean sprouts, cabbage, ham, and pork bits, so one serving was enough to satisfy. Boss, will you be here again tomorrow? I should be. All right, we'll come back for more tomorrow. After the two college students left, business slowed down again. Even though Lu Qin's fried noodles were top-notch, they weren't well-known yet, so not many people came all the way into the alley to buy them. The Odin uncle encouraged Lu Qin. Young man, your fried noodles are truly excellent. Stick around for a few more days, and business will definitely pick up. Hearing someone praise her dad, Lu Xiao felt overjoyed. Uncle, you've got good taste. Didn't I say so? My daddy's cooking is super tasty. Haha, uncle just tells it like it is. Hee hee. Lu Qin smiled and shook his head. Around 8 p.m., the flow of people in the university town reached its peak. More customers began wandering into the alley. Some people wanted to eat fried rice noodles and noticed Lu Qin's stall, but they didn't stop. Instead, they went back to buy from the stall at the entrance of the alley. Lu Qin's stall lacked any buzz, while the Lu's fried noodles stall at the entrance already had a line forming. This was the herd effect. People tend to think that the longer the line, the better the food. But sometimes that was not the case. A few minutes later, 4 or 5 girls holding bubble tea were snapping pictures while buying various snacks. I didn't have dinner. Do you all want some fried rice noodles? I'm not hungry. I just had some fried skewers and I'm full. I still haven't finished my takoyaki. I'll pass too. You go ahead and buy. The girls stood in front of Lu Qin's quiet stall. This place looks pretty empty. Let's go to the one at the front of the alley, one of the girls whispered. Seems like it, but this owner is really handsome. He's totally my type. And he's got a kid with him. The child looks like a little porcelain doll, so cute. Pretty sisters, why don't you try my daddy's fried noodles? My daddy's noodles are super delicious. Lu Xiao said sweetly, flashing an adorable smile. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I'm melting. Come here, let me pinch your little cheeks. Boss, do we get the kid for free if we buy noodles? One of them joked. The kid's not for sale, Lu Qin said with a smile. But you can try the noodles. They're really good. All right, I'll have one with an egg. Got it. Lu Qin quickly started frying the noodles, while the girls watched him with starry eyes. It's often said that men who work seriously are the most attractive. At that moment, Lu Qin, focused on cooking, embodied that perfectly. After seeing so many greasy middle-aged stall owners, Lu Qin, clean and handsome in his apron, was definitely a refreshing sight. Wow, it smells amazing. The noodles were soon ready. Lu Qin expertly packed them up. Here you go. Smelling the rich aroma, the girls couldn't help but swallow their saliva. The stalls in the alley didn't provide seating, so customers had to take their food to go. Thanks, boss. If it's good, we'll be back for more. Originally, they had only bought a serving because of how good Lu Qin and his daughter looked. But now that the noodles were ready, their thoughts had changed. Hurry, let's find somewhere to sit. I need to try these noodles. They smell amazing. The girls found a spot in the night market outside the alley and sat down to eat. There's only one pair of chopsticks. Why didn't you grab more? I asked if you all wanted some, and everyone said no. How could I grab extra chopsticks for one serving? They took turns grabbing bites of the noodles. Immediately, their eyes lit up. Oh my gosh, these are so good. They're fragrant and springy. I've never had fried noodles this good. These noodles are fire. This isn't enough, we need more. Let's go buy another round. People nearby, seeing how much they were enjoying their noodles, began turning their heads in curiosity. Hey ladies, where did you buy those noodles? They smell amazing. Babe, I want some of those noodles too. They look delicious. Can you go get some for me? Excuse me, where did you get those fried noodles? From the narrow alley over there. The alley? There are a few places that sell fried noodles down there. Which one is it? The one at the very back. The owner's super handsome, and there's also an adorable kid. Wait, I'll take you there. I'm going back to buy 5 more. I didn't get enough. Chapter 7. This little girl is amazing. She's definitely one of those perfect kids you hear about from other families. At the entrance of the alley, Lou's fried noodles stall was bustling with activity. Master Lou's fried noodles were the best-selling in the university area. And sometimes customers even had to queue up. At this moment, there were already 6 or 7 customers waiting for their orders. Master, you're so skilled with that wok. You must have graduated from Xindongfang, right? One customer praised. I only eat Master Lou's fried noodles. Another customer chimed in. They're perfectly spicy and flavorful. I come by every few days for a fix. Master Lou, proud of the compliments, smiled and worked the wok with even more flair as flames leaped up from the stove. Wiping sweat from his forehead, he boasted. Xindongfang is nothing. When I was younger, I traveled far and wide. I learned my fried noodle technique from an old master in Shantou who cooked noodles his entire life. His recipe was the real deal, and I learned it all. No wonder, said one of the customers. My girlfriend loves your noodles, and every time she craves them, I end up making a run for them. Master Lou grinned. If she loves them, come every day. Don't underestimate how tricky making fried noodles can be. For example, should you fry the egg first or the noodles? There's so much to it. Just then, a group of 8 or 9 excited customers rushed over. Is this the right alley? Which stall sells those amazing noodles? This is the alley. There's a super handsome guy selling fried noodles, and they're out of this world. Master Lou was momentarily confused, but quickly jumped in. You must be talking about my fried noodles. Please line up, there are 5 orders ahead of you. Uncle, no way, we're not talking about you. This stall's noodles are okay, but they're nowhere near as good as the handsome guy's. Master Lou was bewildered. What? I don't want to brag, but around this university, there's no better fried noodle stall than mine. His noodles are way better, and the owner is super handsome too. Master Lou joked. Super handsome? More handsome than me. A customer drinking water spat it out in laughter. The group didn't stick around, and headed further into the alley. The 4 or 5 customers waiting in line at Lou's stall suddenly looked tempted to leave. Master, have you started on my order yet? If not, I don't want it anymore. Same here, cancel mine too. Master Lou, still holding his spatula, started to panic. Wait. 2 of the customers had already paid in advance. Otherwise, they might have joined the rush to the other stall as well. Master Lou was baffled. Could there really be better noodles than his nearby? He glanced at his remaining customers, trying to convince them. You should trust what you've already tried. Don't get caught up in the hype, you might regret it. The 2 remaining customers exchanged glances and nodded in agreement. There was a good chance they could be disappointed if they followed the crowd, so they decided to wait for their noodles. Meanwhile, further inside the alley, a seasoned stall owner selling Odin gave Lu Qin a nod. You came late today, huh? Missed out on the prime spots near the entrance. Looks like things are slow back here, so maybe call it a night early. The Odin seller had been setting up in the university area for 3 years, and had seen this pattern before. He was sure business wouldn't pick up much. Lu Qin checked the time. It was 8:30. He thought about how his daughter usually went to bed around 9:30. It was a bit early, but if there weren't any more customers, they could head home. One benefit of running a stall was the freedom. He figured he would try to focus on setting up during the day, and spend more evenings with his little one. Yao, it's getting late. Let's pack up. Huh. But Daddy, it's only 8:30. The little one was so fascinated by the whole stall experience that she wasn't bored at all. Besides, she was waiting to get hungry, so she could eat another serving of her dad's delicious fried noodles. Tomorrow's Friday, and you have preschool. We can't stay out too late. Lu Qin wasn't too discouraged by the lack of sales. He had expected it. After all, no one knew about his stall yet. How could he expect to sell much? Just as they were about to pack up, a group of customers, both men and women, rushed over. This is it. There's the handsome guy, and he's got a kid with him. Lu Qin paused, surprised, and looked at them. You all are. Boss, are you closing up already? That's way too early. No, not yet. What can I get for you? 1 order of fried noodles, quick. Same for me. No, wait, make it 2. Business had suddenly picked up, leaving the nearby Odin seller dumbfounded. Where did all these people come from? Why were they so eager for fried noodles? Hey, how about some Odin instead? The Odin seller offered. No thanks, we just want the fried noodles. All right then. Lu Xiao was thrilled to see so many customers. Everyone, you need to line up. No queue, no food, she said with her hands on her hips, pretending to manage the crowd like a little boss, which made everyone laugh. As customers scanned the payment code, Lu Qin quickly heated up his wok. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he expertly tossed rice noodles, vegetables, diced meat, and seasonings into the pan, stirring it all together over high heat. Those paying close attention noticed how fluid and precise his movements were. He tossed the noodles without spilling a single strand, showing his mastery of both skill and control. The flames leaped as the noodles sizzled, and the scene was mesmerizing. The customers waiting in line couldn't help but gasp in admiration. Such skilled hands. Definitely a pro. Wow. The boss makes cooking look so cool. Can I get the boss to go? Soon. The delicious aroma wafted around the stall, making everyone's mouths water. Lu Qin efficiently cooked 3 servings at a time, portioning them out with a quick flick of his wrist, and not a single noodle fell outside the container. This level of cleanliness and precision was pleasing to watch. Adding to the clean and tidy presentation, Lu Qin wore an apron and a transparent plastic face mask. The ingredients on his counter were covered with a clean cloth, and all the condiments were neatly arranged. The stall's clean and organized appearance was a stark contrast to the greasy, grimy setups of other stalls. Wow, it's so hygienic here. It's rare to find such a clean stall. And the boss and his little girl are so cute. These noodles smell amazing. I bet they taste great too. Little Lu Xiao was already helping with the packaging. Daddy, you keep cooking. I'll handle the packing. She reached out with her little hands and carefully grabbed a plastic bag, shaking it as she had seen her dad do earlier before placing it on the counter. Then she neatly covered the noodles, moving slowly but precisely, double-checking to ensure the lid was on properly before handing the food over with a satisfied nod. The young customers waiting for their orders watched with amusement, entertained by her diligent but slow pace. After all, no one could resist watching such an adorable and sweet child. Next, she placed napkins and disposable chopsticks in the plastic bag and tied a neat double knot, just like her dad had taught her. "Mister, here's your order," she said cheerfully. "It's mine?" "Thank you," the young man responded. Little Xiao leaned forward to hand him the noodles, but quickly pulled back. "Mister, did you pay yet?" The young man burst into laughter. "Yes, I paid." He showed her his phone, displaying the payment confirmation. "All right then, here you go," she said softly, finally handing him the noodles. Her actions made the rest of the line break out in laughter. "Haha, this little one is so smart. She's already learned how to run a business. What a clever kid. She even checks to make sure you paid. She's so wonderful. Definitely one of those kids everyone wishes they had, so well-behaved and adorable. Unlike mine, who's a little monster. I swear, I feel like throwing him in the trash sometimes."